Hey everybody, this is Izzy. This is the second part to our 5-part weapons creation video. Here's the weapon we created earlier, and I used Boolean compound objects here. I used this to actually cut out a few more vertices here, and I made a square in the middle because I'm going to put an animated video in there, kind of like the movie Predator, where he has those little dots that kind of disappear as he shoots his weapon. So I'm going to do that later with IFL Manager, and I'll make a video on IFL Manager for you later on so you can know how to do that yourself. But for right now, what I want to focus on here is UVW mapping, how to create skin palettes for your weapons and your vehicles. UVW mapping is one of my least favorite things to do, but it's important. 3D Max 2.5 has a very tedious approach to UV mapping. It's not like Max, the later versions of Max, where you can click a button and it automatically does it for you. One thing that I will say is that there are third-party softwares that you can get. For example, UV Mapper, Body Paint 3D, that you can just load this model in and you can paint it with their program. And once you paint this model in the program, you can hit save, and it will save the model, and it will also save the texture along with it, and then you're done. But that's not the way they did it for Starsiege. I'm going to show you how they did it for Starsiege, as the best I know how, which comes from trial and error and a lot of reading. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to focus on is, and probably the only thing I'm going to focus on due to the length of this video, is I'm not going to focus on the barrel part. I'm just going to go ahead and hide that. I want to focus on this part right here. Make sure as we're doing this that you do not save this max file. This max file right now, since we've opened it, we opened our weapon up, it's only to be used for creating a bitmap. That's it. We just want to create a bitmap. There's several ways you can do this. There's the easy way. Basically what we have to do in order to create this bitmap, because our shape has a top and a side, our shape is symmetrical, which basically, if I move my shape over here in the middle of this crosshair, it should be the exact same on all four sides, which is good. It's because we paint one side, and then we're going to paint all four sides. And that's good. But what we have to do is we have to break this particular shape apart in order to create our bitmap, because when we go to apply the UVW mapping coordinates to this, they will be very hard to do. Don't let this scare you. I know I'm talking big, but don't worry about it because it's not that bad. Okay, select your shape, and I'm going to show you how to break this apart. The first thing you want to do is go up here to your Edit Mesh modifier, and if you don't have it, you can add it here by going to your Configure button sets. We're going to have to break this shape apart. The only thing we're doing now is creating a bitmap in order to add UVW coordinates to later. Go down to where it says Sub-Object and select Face. After you select Face, go down to this little triangle here. Click that. Basically that just means you can select the entire square, or you can select particular vertices. Actually, let me try the square. I've never actually tried this, so I'm going to see if it works pretty good. It does the same thing. Just go ahead and go up here to your user viewport, which I'm using, or you can use your top viewport. Your top viewport might actually be better. And you can just select different parts of the top here. I'm having some difficulty here, as you can tell, selecting parts. So I'm going to go over to my user viewport, see if it's any easier, and it is. Try different viewports if you have trouble selecting different parts. And I'm going to select my middle square here, where I'm going to put my cool screen there. Make sure you don't select any of the triangular viewports. And over here in my left viewport, I can go over here and use my little hand tool, and I can see that I actually have messed up and selected some of the bottom vertices, and that's going to be really messed up when I go to try to I can actually drag a triangle around those and just deselect them. Well, actually I just selected them, and so I need to unselect these just by clicking them once again. Um, I don't want them to be selected. I just need my top, that's all. Okay, so another thing that I could probably have done, which would have been a lot easier, is from my left viewport here, I could have just dragged a rectangle and done that, which selects the sides too. I don't want the sides, but I could have unselected those as well. Now you can see that I have only my top selected, and unselect those vertices. So now I have my top selected. So what I want to do is I want to go down, 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 and I want to hit this button right here that says detach. So hit detach and call this top. That just creates an entirely new shape out of the top. That's exactly what I want to do. If I go up here and look, there's the top. Boom. Now I can actually just move the top out of the way if I want to, and that's exactly what I am going to do. I'm going to move it out of the way. So now I have my top up here in the corner, which is wonderful. So now what I want to do is my personal opinion of the side is actually good enough the way it is right now in order to just, like I say, for example, we're just making a bitmap. That's all we're doing. The side, the way it looks here in the left viewport, looks good enough to where I don't actually have to break that up anymore. It doesn't have any overlapping textures much. There's a few little vertices there that actually are really close, like for example right here and right here. I could probably rotate that up here in the user viewport and fix that. So I'm actually not going to break that apart. What I'm going to do is just kind of, I'm going to rotate that up here in the up here in my top viewport, if I can. Oh, I know what I gotta do, I'm sorry. Hit Control Z if you mess up, Control Z. If you mess up, Control Z. So just select this, make sure you unselect your sub-object button on your mesh modifier, or you'll do what I just did. Okay, now I can rotate it. I want to rotate this on a Y-axis. Okay. No, I'm going to do it on an X-axis. Control Z if you mess up. Alright, rotate, 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 rotate. Okay, I want that to look really, really good. And I'm going to blow up my screen here by hitting minimal max toggle. Okay, I want that to look. The less lines you have on this, the easier it's going to be to do. You don't want a lot of lines. You can probably rotate this since it's symmetrical and get this to where it looks almost perfect. Look at that, that's almost perfect. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. I don't think I actually need to go through and break this up and detach it, because like I said, all we're doing right now is making a bitmap. For the length of this video purposes, I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not actually going to go through and do the other part of the weapon. One thing you can do too as well is you can go back over here and select your top, do an edit mesh modifier on it once again, and you can actually go through here and sub-object, edge, use the edge, delete some of these out. You don't need all these in there, and to be honest with you, well, you need that one, of course. Control Z. A lot of these are just gonna confuse you later, so what I'm doing is I'm selecting them and I'm hitting the delete button. Like that one back there, I don't need that. Probably don't need that one. The ones that are white you don't have to have, but they will help you later on kind of line this thing up. That's good enough. So let's undo sub-object. Okay, so now you're asking yourself, well, how do you make the bitmap? Well, what you do is you want to align these objects close together, because you're going to have a bunch of more objects. If you're making especially a Herc or a tank, you're going to have a bunch of objects laid out in this viewport everywhere by the time you get done creating your skin palette. You want to go up here to the little teapot that looks like a teapot with a little window behind it, render scene here, and you want to go down until you see this max default scanline buffer. You have mapping shadows. You want to click on force wireframe, and your wire thickness, I like to make mine 3 because I like to make it look really, where I can see it well, and hit render. The following objects require map coordinates and may not render correctly. If you get this error, and you will if you don't apply mapping coordinates, I'm going to go ahead and show you another part of the video. You need to go ahead and put mapping coordinates on your parts. Very simple. What you do is go to UVW map, scroll down, go to planner, and hit fit. Hit fit. Just hit sub object fit. No problem. Unselect sub object. Go to your next particular thing here. UVW map. Go back to UVW map. Now look at this one. This one's kind of stretched on the bottom here. I don't particularly want it to do that, so I need to change my alignment. Okay, now it fits correctly the way I want it, and I hit fit. Now I have mapping coordinates, so I can go back up here to my render scene. You have to put the mapping coordinates in it, and make sure that when you go back to apply this skin to your model, that you use the same mapping coordinates, planar, X or Y. Go down here to force wireframe. I got it still on 3. Hit render. Okay, that doesn't look too good. So what I'm going to do, it's probably because of the it's got some kind of skin that I made before on it. I'm just going to use a really, really bright something bright. I'm going to use this. I'm going to apply that to both of them. Okay, now that I got a real bright material on there, let me see if that renders good. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And that's rendered well. Okay. I'm going to move this one down some though, because it looks kind of funny. Just going to move it down here a little bit. Now I click on this viewport, and I'm rendering that viewport. See down here where it says viewport user. There's a way you can actually render that to where it just does white wireframes if you want it to. I kind of like the little color on there. I've done it before, I just don't see where it is. You can make your wireframes thinner or thicker, whatever you want to do. Okay, well, we're missing one of the lines here, but that's okay, it doesn't really matter. So there is my particular model here, mapped out. I could have deleted those lines right there and made that look better. So what I want to do is I just want to save this. I want to save it as video map.jpg for the video, C: documents and settings. I'm going to save it to my desktop so I'll know where it is. Video map. Okay. Now, what you need to do now, close this. Close this out. Do not save it. Do not save it. Boom. Closed out. Reopen your weapon again. The whole part of that video was only to make a skin palette. That's it. That's the only thing that we needed that we done there. Hide this part. We're not doing this right now. We're doing this. Okay, now what you need to do now is go back through the same process that you did earlier by selecting the top. So what you need to do is go back over here to your modifiers tab. You can use mesh select if you want to instead of edit mesh modifier. I would recommend for this part of the video use mesh select if you don't have it added on your buttons here. Go down to your sub object face, click on the triangle. I'm going to do what we did earlier and just kind of drag a little line over top, and that actually just kind of selects the whole top for me. See that? It's pretty cool. Now what you need to do after you select your faces of the top that we did earlier, you need to go to UVW map. Do the exact same thing that you did earlier. We have planner, Okay, and for the top, hit fit. That's what we did earlier. Alright, now what I need you to do is go up to the material editor, load, discard this, don't worry about what this bitmap here is, it shouldn't even be in there. Go ahead and load that bitmap or JPEG. Select one of these colored balls here and hit under diffuse, hit this little button to the side, hit bitmap. Go down, it'll say show a bitmap place here, it'll be blank. Click bitmap, navigate to your desktop, Documents, Settings, Administrator, wherever you put that file. Video map JPEG. There's my video map right there. And then you hit this little button here, looks like a circle and box. And then you hit this gateway box looking thing here, and that applies that to your model. Now look at my model. You will be able to see, you're going to ask yourself now, you're like, whoa, that thing doesn't look right. It's just got a picture on there of them, and you can see them both on there. Now this is where you actually go in and apply your UVW coordinates to your bitmap you made earlier. You want to go in and click the button Unwrap UVW. We're just doing the top now, not the sides. Unwrap UVW. You want to scroll down and hit Edit. And there is our top. That's the top we just selected. We applied a planar UVW map and we unwrapped it. Go up here to Pick Map and go to Scene. Because you had just loaded that particular JPEG or bitmap into your material editor, it will be under Scene. There it is. Double click that. Okay, now we have a bitmap behind our unwrapped top. I'm just going to drag a square over top all these vertices here, and I'm going to scale them down to about the same size as the square on the top of my bitmap here. Drag and cut down. Of course, you know I'm going to have to adjust these. I'm going to make mine big so I can see what's going on. I just need to drag these up here so I can figure out what I'm doing. The thing I do is like in the middle, and as I can almost tell right away that it's not big enough, so I'm going to have to scale it up a little bit more. It should almost be the same, but it may not actually be. Now as I scale that up, it's starting to actually fit a little better, but it's still not quite there. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to fit. So go ahead and select your different vertices here, and you can select them and move them where they fit, as you can see I'm doing now. I told you guys before we even started this was a very tedious process, and it is. It takes time and it takes patience, but all good things take time and patience. So says Izzy. Okay, now this part right here is a little screwed up, as you can tell. I'm going to have to raise them up quite a bit here and get them actually better because they are very messed up. Okay, that's not bad. It's not bad, but it's not good, but it's not bad. Now when we go back, close this out, go back and look here. Look at our model now. It actually has a palette on it. I'm going to render this particular perspective so you can see it. When I render this, you will see that's our model. And it's almost right. It's almost got the bitmap on it correctly. We may have to go back into Unwrap UVW and do a few little tweaks on it as we look at it. Here it is, Unwrap UVW. Click it and hit Edit. Next thing we need to do is the side. I'm going to select the side kind of like I selected the top. You can actually hold the Control key down and go to your Mesh Select modifier again, Sub-Object Face, Triangle, and hold your Control key down and just select the individual faces that you want to actually edit here. You can do it that way, or you can just do it kind of like I told you earlier and just drag your mouse over it over into the left viewport, and that pretty much just selects the whole side there for you. Or so I think. We'll go in and check on the UVW and just see how it looks. See, that doesn't look too hot to me. The reason that doesn't look too good is because we haven't really applied our UVW map to that yet, have we? Now if you notice, the UVW map is straight across here. We don't want that because that's planar. That is planar, which is flat. Okay, and we said we want it flat, but the way I've got this laid out, I don't really want it flat. I want it to be up and down, which is, we're going to be on X. Now you can see from the left viewport, it actually is okay. It's where I want it to be at. 3D Max is a lot of thinking. It's not as much doing as it is thinking. Hit fit, and as you can see now from my left viewport, I have that particular, that's what I want is select it, unwrap UVW, hit edit, and there you go. You can see that it's just on its side, but it's what I want. Go back in here, select your video map, make it large screen, see what's going on here. Go ahead and select all those vertices and just rotate them. No big deal. Okay. Then after you rotate them, scale that down a little bit to where it'll actually fit, and move it over here so we can work on it and get it to where it fits. I actually like to get it in the middle, and then I'm going to scale it up a little bit, but there's no way this is going to actually fit anywhere close to what I want it to. Can you use an existing texture to texture this? Of course. All you have to do is just load that texture into in the material editor, UVW map your model, open this up and bring your the texture that existing texture that you want to use, and just move these around until you get them to where you actually want them. I'm going to show you that too, I think, because I got time here. As you can see, this doesn't look as good as I wanted it to, but it's good enough to paint, I think. That needs to stay there. This is why it's so important to not have as many lines and to break these shapes apart as good as you possibly can, because you get into situations like this that are just horrible. You can zoom in on this with the zoom tool, zoom the extents. So when you click on zoom and you click this box, it'll zoom in whatever you're working on. As you can tell, we're not too far off, but we're not where I would like to be. It's better to use your control key and go through and select the individual meshes than it is to actually go through and do it this way. For right now, what I want to do, that's how you actually UVW map and create a bitmap for your models. But I'm going to show you how to do an existing table quick before I run out of time here. So what I want to do here is I want to pick a color here, go to diffuse, click on new, go to bitmap. I'm going to pick an existing Starsiege texture, one that I think looks kind of cool. You can also use Photoshop to cut and paste particular parts of bitmaps into other bitmaps and use them to modify your particular weapon or whatever you want to do. Like you can take a vent off of an APOC and cut and paste it into your bitmap in Photoshop and use it in your model. I mean, it's pretty much endless what you can do once you UVW map your particular. I'm going to use I don't know what I'm going to use. I don't know what half of these are, to be honest with you. Zen. I'm going to use like a regular. Let's see here. I'm just going to pick something. How about the Nike? What's the Nike? Nike look cool. Okay, we're going to use Nike. So I'm just going to actually put a Nike skin there. Boom, boom. It doesn't look right though, does it? I mean, so that's where we're going to have to come in and UV map it a little better. This is, you can go in here and see all these really blurry, like this right here. That looks bad. The top looks kind of alright, but that's not what I want. I want to show you guys, so I can go to Unwrap UVW now, and I have my side selected. There it is. I can pick map from the scene, select the Nike bitmap. There's the Nike bitmap. Okay, so I think that I just want my side of my particular I want my side of my sorry, I want my side of my weapon mount here just to be like camouflage, you know. I'll put that down, and I'm gonna move it over here. If I could have it looking like a vent, that would be cool. Metal by putting it right here. I think it'd be cool if it was like camouflage. Where it's like this little cool here. It's just a vent. So let's see what that looks like. There it is. It's just a vent. So as you can see, I used that piece of that bitmap to create this vent shape. Now I can do the top. All I have to do is just unselect everything and select the top. Actually, I can go up here and probably select the top. Excuse me. Mesh select. Mesh select. There's the top. Apply a UVW map to it, which should already be one applied to it. Go to Unwrap UVW, edit, pick map, Nike. There's the Nike. Go through here, select it all. Gonna scale it back down again. Top is gonna be this like real looking stuff right here. It's like metal gradient. Looks kind of cool. So, you know, here I am. I'm doing this. I just used an existing Starsiege texture. I unwrapped my model, and I use an existing Starsiege texture to texture my model, and there's the top of it. So, yeah, you can use existing textures if you want, which is a lot easier than going through what I just showed you. But for tutorial's sake, this is how it's done. It's hard, I know, but not everything in life's easy. Okay, on to video 3.